Sorry. I come from a place where there's a real bad pollution, Bangkok. Our AQI is 170 this morning, so I will have this coughing all through my keynote speech. Well, I was invited to talk about media and social change, but I think first, before venture into that, I will start with my introduction to what Thai PBS is. There's a short VTR that I think will be appropriate so you can see our operation in Thailand. It's a digital television. Now it's 10 years old. It started actually before 10 years in Thailand. There was a political turmoil. We call it Black May, month of May, where there's this big crackdown by the military juntas and a lot of civilians got murdered. What was ironic is that for the Thai to have access to free and accurate information, they have to listen to the BBC. And none of the Thai medium was independent enough to protect its own people. And that's kind of like a scar which started what we call independent television in Thailand. It was running really nicely as ITV for 10 years. I was part of the staff who do the setting up at ITV, but believe it or not, after it was running for 8 years, a business tycoon, then a prime minister of Thailand, Mr. Thaksin Shinawatra, bought the television station. And at that point on, the ITV, I don't know, it can hardly call itself as independent, because it can be I as I Thaksin TV. So when that happened, then thing went south. You probably heard that we went through a political turmoil with a red shirt and yellow shirt. And ITV back then, which was belonged to Mr. Thaksin Shinawatra, was transferred to Thai PBS, where I'm now a deputy general director in charge of content, which means news and programming and networking. This is new thing, because before this we only do news and television programs, drama. But today we also have to do networking. Networking with whom? Networking with people. Because I believe at the end of the day, it's the people that we serve, and it's the people that we have to empower for us journalists here in this room to be able to survive into the next century. So let's watch the VTR. It's really a self-pitch kind of VTR produced by our corporate, so pardon for it to be kind of gung-ho, its presentation.
As Thailand's national public broadcaster, the Thai Public Broadcasting Service, or Thai PBS, has brought fresh political and social perspective to the daily lives of the Thai people. Through its diverse news, educational, and entertainment programs. Financed with tax on tobacco and alcohol, Thai PBS strives to promote and inform citizenry through its diverse genres of thought-provoking and knowledge-building programs that include dramas, reality shows, music and arts, and documentary on education, nature, and history. Thai PBS in extreme situations. In times of crisis, when free flow of information is most crucial, Thai PBS has proven its editorial independence to serve as a channel for news to be reported independently and ideas expressed freely. Thai PBS is committed to pursuing journalism of the highest quality and integrity, with its bold and in-depth news report based on strong adherence to the Code of Ethics. Children's program, igniting imagination, inspiring creativity. Its children programs are distinctively educational and inspiring. Awards. Thai PBS News educational, and entertainment programs have won a string of awards for their distinctiveness. Border Beyond. As countries in Southeast Asia move toward greater integration, Thai PBS intends to reach out to the rest of the region through its programming and cooperative relationships with other broadcasters and media organizations outside Thailand. The aim is to become a public broadcaster with regional impact.
Because at the end of the day, that's what the public television should do, to be trustworthy. The first question that people always ask me is where the money comes from. I just want to repeat that so it's really become extremely clear. It came from tobacco and liquor tax. It doesn't go through the government. It comes directly when they're collecting this tax. There's a law, Thai public broadcasting law, that mandate the government to channel 5% of their income to support the public TV. It amounts to about 80 million US dollars per year. That calculate to, if my calculation is correct, it's about 14,000 million Sri Lankan rupee per year annually. And that's a big burden because when you get that type of money, then you really have to perform. Every day we have to check our rating. It's not like you get this money and you're just gonna, cannot forsake your responsibility to perform better than average. And that's our task. Most of the time, in Thailand now, there's 30 stations altogether after the digitization of our signal. IBS ranks about 14, not glamorous 14. But every time there's a national disaster or political turmoil or something like hurricane, typhoon, we will climb up to number 4. Last time when there's a cave boy incident, most of you in this room probably familiar with the cave boy in north of Thailand, we climb up to number 3. So that's the kind of things that we ought to do, is to serve and make sure that people get maybe not the fastest, but the most accurate information. Today in the really ever-changing landscape, it's not like when I started out where we have only like 5 television stations and we are like knights in shining armors with our camera and our equipment. Nowadays, everybody become journalists. They have their cell phone and they go shoot stories, post. So that's the kind of landscape that we're operating in. And I've heard that you here are in part of the media reform here in Sri Lanka, and I really have to congratulate you for that, because that's how we became Thai PBS. It started out with a group of people who felt that we have to find a better way to serve. I have to say it clearly that we not in any shape or form against business model. Because I myself, as a journalist, I was working in the business sector all through my life at the Nation Broadcasting Corporation. If you're familiar with the Southeast Asian media landscape, you know the Nation is one of the biggest newspaper name that conglomerate doing a lot of media. And we were under fire too, that people would suspect that we'll be monopolized in the same way that, the business tycoon and monopolizing media. But I truly believe that it's not about being government, non-government, or business or non-business. I think we have our different kind of function in this kind of landscape. So I would like to jump into another presentation of mine, that to give you the general idea of how media landscape in Thailand looks like today. Before this, okay, let's start before this. Like 50 years ago when we started out in broadcasting industry, the US is the one who got this idea that to fight the communists in Indochina, you have to have good propaganda machine. So they started out with Thompson Foundation, you probably heard of it, you TV people, and they start TV stations, 2 stations alone, Channel 7 and Channel 5, both belong to the military. So it's a TV for national security purpose. That's how it started out 50 years ago, to fight the communists. But our soldiers are were pretty smart. So what they did, instead of doing only the, what you call a nationalistic anti-communist campaign, they also rent out the time. And it started out with giving concession to the business sector. So Thai television infrastructure belonged to the military, and they gave concession, not license, allowance for the business to come. And most of the story that they did back then was like variety show and drama, purely entertainment, due to the argument that when people are happy, they're not going to become communists. And so it started out like that. It's really rigid and really commercialized. And when the communists were gone, the structure's still there. So the military becomes so familiar of owning this asset and giving concession to the public. We talk about multi-million. You must know, you know. Our 80 million US dollars is only fraction of the real value of the industry in Thailand, which can run up so high, I don't know, 10,000 million for the whole value, including game show, drama, all that. So with that, we have this kind of imbalance, and the public seems to be kind of irrelevant. The rule is more or less to consume the media, but not to be active as the media critiques or participate in the media process itself. So and after our media was saturated with game show and drama, and we felt that there must be a turning point. Hence the Black May incident, where most of the population couldn't get the accurate information at all. And it was so shocking to the people that, wow, our media that we have, back then it's about 5 stations, didn't perform its fundamental function at all. That is to serve the public and make the public safe and have informed information so that they can make informed decisions in their daily life. So we started out with the media reform. And the media reform is aiming at reshuffling this frequency. I know it's going to be tiny, but I'm going to zoom in. So we're aiming at law. We need to have a mechanic to change the scenery. We have to have independent organization to reshuffling the frequencies that used to belong to only one organization. So the law started out, and we have the NRA, that's the National Reform Act, National Media Reform Act. It's both as an organization, and they come up with Telecommunication Act, that's cell phones, and other telecommunication satellites, and Broadcasting Act. It's really important and crucial to have them as separate entities. Lots of people campaign to combine them together, but that won't be good. We said in a really colloquial way that we have to separate the pipe from the water. Don't let the guy who runs the pipe be the one who produces the water. You have to have that kind of check and balance. Do you know what I mean? The water from the pipe. So the people who produce content, we call content provider, would be under the Broadcasting Act 2008, and the telecommunication and the channel, both of cell phone and television, will be with the Telecommunication Act of 2001. Okay, there's one more area that we need to go for the reform is the Radio Communication Act, because it was written in the 1955 and needs to be reshuffled as well. Now, that's what we're doing. The body of that pushing the change, I used to be a vice president, TBJA, that's the Thai Broadcasting Journalists Association. It's kind of like similar what you're doing here. It's a combination of the like-minded academics, practitioners, and owners. There's some owners who feel real, because when you talk about concession, there's a lot of unfairness going on too. Only certain groups of people or company always get the access to the media, while the rest have to, what we call it, to get subcontracting from the main guy. So it's like this big pitch and small pitch situation. So those owners who feel that they want to liberate the demand and supply chain from the old days, they come together as a Broadcast Journalists Association, and they campaigning for the change. Change doesn't come easy, but it goes through a lot of political changes also. I wouldn't go into detail, but the main problems at that point aim at our previous Prime Minister, the famous Tycoon Kun Thaksin. So when the new government overthrown Kun Thaksin, it started out with the new organization that's called the National Broadcasting and Telecommunication Commission. This is it's an independent statutory body comprised of government officials, media practitioners, and academics, and consumers. In Thailand, we have a really strong consumers group that monitoring drug, medicines, and also pesticide for the from the agricultural sector. So these people get together and say they have to do something about it, and the job at the NBTC is to give licensing. So the days of concession is over. It's going to be licensing, and at the same time that the digital technology was mature enough, and Thailand jumped in. We used my memory kind of. We used the DVB T1. I understand that your country will be using ISDB, right? In Thailand, we use the same as the European system, and we tried it out, and it went on hand in hand with our new licensing activity. At that point, from only 5 or 6 TV stations, everybody wants to own TV station. So this is our today's landscape of our industry. You see, number 3 is me. It's part of the what we call public television. I will go into more details later, but you will see that it's flourishing. Everybody started out instead of 5, and say the Nation Group where I used to work. Before this, they had to go and buy time from the company that got concession from literature. So it's threefold, of business deal. Today, they can directly have their own station, and it's terrestrial. We're not talking about satellite. It's terrestrial. I mean, you don't need anything but a digital TV, or if you have analog TV, you only need a set-top box in order to get out the station. The situation seems really nice, according to our plan. We have kid and youth stations. That's what everybody demanding. That, oh, well, Thailand should have a program solely designed for children because they are our future. In the sales document, it sounds very good, but in reality, it was a big disaster because the advertising money stayed the same as back when where there were only 5 stations. Now you have how many? 36 stations, and they're all competing for the same amount of money. And at the same time, there was this big landslide of media disruption, which all of you here, I'm sure, must have experienced it. That's been the birth of the new venue, the internet, the social media, and our industry is shrinking badly. Believe it or not, at one point in time, the viewers of our station dropped down to 20,000. My country has 70 million people, but it can drop so badly to 20,000 per minute. That's crazy. I don't know whether you have experienced that here yet, but the internet is more, will grow more and more, and people turning to their tablets, their cell phones. I kind of noticed that you have that design in front of your, what do you call it, a paper that have many devices. And that's the thing that we learned in Thailand, that the TV had turned to be not second screen even, it turned to be the third screen. The first screen is cell phone, the second screen is tablets, iPad or whatnot, and the third screen is our good old television screen. So we have to adjust really fast. The whole thing is shrinking. Just to give you a really quick idea, and you know what happened after 2 years of experimenting with this? The business people start to return their license. They don't want to operate it anymore. The children programs went first. They want to do DIY or what they call it, direct TV, selling things on TV instead. So all these dreams may be wonderful. It has to be really scrutinized. How can you prevent it from collapsing? These wonderful dreams of many player diversity, voices from the voiceless, it's all well and nice, but when in practice, it can be what we call red ocean, the ocean of blood, instead of blue ocean, where people have good opportunities to go and explore the world and to see new things. So this is our experience. How many minutes? 5? 5, okay. Just to go to the public area, the 4 stations here have different functions. Number 5 is military. They talk about the national security, and in Thailand they have this sufficient economy by our previous king Ramadanai, talking about sustainable living, and how they redefine security not only as guns and bombs, security as also as food and good livelihood. But at the same time, the government itself, the Prime Minister office, have to have their own channel. So it's the second one. We call it the purple snail. It's not a good name. They don't like it, but it's NBT, National Broadcasting Television. Their function is to bring the top-down policy level decision to the people. So you can imagine that they operate both television and radio, and the downflow nation. Of course, and there's Thai PBS. As you can see, we concerned with indigenous people, the people on the fringe, people on peripheral. Some people kind of tease us that, well, in fact, you are an NGO, not even a government, because we have to maintain independence. We have to criticize the government. We have to report on pollution, like right now. For the election, we have to go and make it the most transparent, and we have to demand for democracy, even though in a country where not a democratic state right now. So sometimes Thai PBS have been looked at as a bad boy from the government perspective, that we always come up with problems. So our stand is to focus more on solutions, Hence, the word solution journalism is our keyword. We learned that to talk about problems alone is not enough anymore. We have to dig deeper and work together with the people and the community in order to come up with what we call solution journalism. And the last one, you might ask, what is TPTV? TPTV is our law. It's the Thai Parliament TV. These 4 stations work together, if you can imagine. Channel 5 talk about national security. Channel 2 talk about national policy. Channel 3, people voices, the people concerned, people's problems. And Channel 10, it's law. Because law is really important to make things change. And the people, the general public, have to have the understanding how they're passing the law. And the laws are being passed in the parliament. So these 4 are the main branch of our public service. Television do different kind of tasks, but in order to guarantee that the blackmail situation won't happen again, that people being blindfolded in their own country and have to rely on the British. I'm sorry for my laughing, but I think it's nowadays in the internet today, so I think that we ourselves should be able to have our own reliable media. And this is how we try to make it happen. Really, I know my time is running out, but as I said, the media disruption is so strong because of the social media and all. So even today, Thai PBS have to go to what we call the over-the-top, like Netflix, and try to produce our own venue. In order to handle the media disruption and go through the digital transformation, what we do is we define our working area not solely at broadcaster anymore. We also work heavily on online, and we use our skills in television making. We said that the television is not disappear. It's television set that's going to be gone. You know what I mean? Television people still in need because they're good storytellers. They know how to go and do an investigation, but it has to be more of and when it's online, the problem about it, as we all know, the public, the viewers will be fragmented. So we want to get the same people that they think in the same way. So public television on the online area have to work harder to make it a balanced playing field. I know my time is running out, but just one thing that is new, we also do a lot of on-ground activity because on air, it will be in great need. There's a national disaster campaign on public safety. Like we have this Songkran Day, national Buddhist festival day where there's a lot of accidents happen because ironically during the Buddhist Lent, people drink a lot before they will stop drinking during the Lent. So hence there's a lot of road accidents. On air is still effective, and it's very effective for the rural populations. But for the new generation, we really have to work on the online, the platform that I can briefly show it to you right here. It's an application that people can go in and sign up and choose their own programming. But what we do to combat the fragmentation of the people, we try to go for media as a referencing medium. That means they can, if they're debating on certain things, you can come to Thai PBS to check the fundamental facts about, say, AQI, air quality index, how it's been measured in Europe and Asia. And with that kind of thing, I'm sorry, I should have, when we move to a different country, then, well, we focus on, here. Right now, we talk about the air quality index all through our news. and then we have other type, and so people can choose. But we have this, what we call core values, things that all our news shared in common. Had it been entertainment, news, it will be the same core values, and that's to reducing the social gap, both analog gap, like poverty, housing, and the gap that is digital, that should be in digital divide. One final word, we also invest in the new way of news gathering. We know that we can no longer ignore the public, not only as viewers, but also as the content generators. Lots of you in this room probably familiar with the word UGC, user-generated content. We cannot rely on our stringers to send the news anymore. So we're designing this application where people can download it and reporting the news by themselves. That's the news about many issues that I will go in. It's a location-based kind of people reporting on people burning something, which is the contributor to the dust problem, air quality problem. It's looked like a super small news. You probably heard the word super local news. And I think that's the future, that we really include the public into finding the problems and also locating the solution. We use this information as big data and analyze it and reporting as part of our news. So the news is no longer from our reporters and from the, what you call it, our stringers. It's come from the people also, but we didn't neglect the one that come from the people. Okay, this is our general activities. You see that we've changed and have to adjust a lot. Hold on, just one last word. And and the last question is, how about the full-time journalists? Are they going to disappear? Are they going to be gone? I just want to guarantee you, sir and madam, that they're not going to be gone. They're going to be needed more than ever, because even though the civic journalism can do and contribute to the data journalism's content, we still need good and strong investigative journalists who do really deep work. Our final analysis is that the public is more aware of what is what. They have better access than ever before. So the news that they were willing to waste their time with have to be a super deep news. It cannot be a regular mediocre news anymore. They won't trust us if we cannot provide them with the kind of story that they can get from the internet anyway. Thank you very much, and this is my understanding of media for social change. Thank you.